This is a story of a king who believed. That crown came with wisdom. The moment it touched his head, he no longer needed to learn. That power made him right, and authority made him unquestionable. In a distant land, far beyond the reach of ordinary maps, there existed a kingdom of beauty, power, and quiet perfection. A place where golden towers stretched toward the heavens, as if they themselves longed to touch the sky. The streets were alive with color, markets echoed with laughter, and the people believed their future was secure. Because at the heart of it all flowed a river that gave life, fed the land, and carried the promise of tomorrow. And above it all, watching from the highest halls of power, sat the one man who ruled it all, King Eric. Young, strong, respected, but above all, certain. Certain that he was right, certain that he knew best, certain that he needed no one. From the moment he wore the crown, his voice became law, his decisions unquestioned, his word final. Advisors gathered around him daily, bringing ideas, warnings, and wisdom earned through years of experience. But their words never truly reached him, because in the mind of King Eric, listening was not strength, it was hesitation, and hesitation was weakness. So instead of listening, he decided. Instead of learning, he declared. And for a time, it seemed to work. The kingdom prospered, the people smiled, the land flourished. But not all change arrives with noise. Some changes begin in silence. Beyond the palace walls, beyond the king's sight, something had begun. And there, in the quiet rhythm of the land, stood a man who noticed. His name was Duran, a man shaped by seasons and guided by experience. He did not wear a crown, he held no power, but he understood something the king did not. He listened, not to voices of power, but to the quiet language of the land. And what the land was saying was not good. The river was beginning to change. A small change, almost invisible, but powerful enough to change everything. At first, everything seemed the same. The river still shimmered beneath the morning sun. The market still overflowed with voices in trade. Children still ran through the streets, laughing as though tomorrow was guaranteed. Nothing looked broken. Nothing felt urgent. But beneath that calm, something unseen had begun to unravel. The river, once bold and unyielding, began to lose its strength. Its current softened. Its rhythm hesitated. Not enough to raise fear, not enough for alarm, just enough to whisper a warning. A warning carried in stillness. A warning most would never hear, but one man did, Duran. Each morning before the sun fully rose, before the kingdom stirred awake, he was already walking the land. Step by step, staff in hand, eyes searching for what others overlooked. He listened, not with his ears, but with something deeper, something time had taught him, something hardship had sharpened. He knelt slowly at the edge of his field, pressing his fingers into the soil. And there it was, dryness, subtle, but wrong. The earth no longer held the same life. It no longer responded the way it should. He closed his eyes for a moment, feeling it, remembering. Because this feeling was not new to him. He had felt it before. Years ago, in a time the kingdom tried to forget, a time when the rains failed, when the river thinned, when the land slowly began to die, and it had started just like this, quiet. Duran rose to his feet, his expression heavy with understanding. His gaze moved across the fields. The crops, once proud and full, now stood slightly weakened, their color fading, their strength uncertain. To anyone else, it was nothing. To him, it was everything. He turned toward the river once more, watching, studying. The water no longer danced against the banks. It moved, carefully, as if it were holding back, as if something upstream was changing its course. Duran's grip tightened around his staff. This was no coincidence. This was no passing moment. This was the beginning. The kind of beginning that ends kingdoms. A slow breath left his lips. There was no more time to watch, no more time to wonder. This was a warning that had to be carried. Beyond the fields, beyond the river, beyond the quiet understanding of one man, it had to reach the throne. The palace stood tall in the distance, untouched by worry, unaware. Its golden towers still shone, as though nothing in the world could threaten them, as though power alone could hold everything together. Duran began to walk, each step steady, but heavy with urgency. Through fields, past workers who did not yet see, beyond villagers who still smiled without fear. He wanted to stop them, to tell them, to make them understand, but he knew they would not hear it. Not yet, because the danger had not become loud enough, not painful enough, not real enough. So he kept walking, toward the only place where something could be done, or where everything could be ignored. The palace gates rose before him, tall, imposing, guarded by men who believed nothing could go wrong. Duran stopped for a moment, looking up at the walls, at the symbol of power, at the place where truth often struggled to enter. A quiet doubt passed through him, a question he could not ignore. Would the king listen? Or would this warning become just another unheard voice, lost in the echo of pride? Duran inhaled deeply, because deep down, he already knew the answer. King Eric did not listen, not to advisors, not to caution, not to anything that challenged his certainty. And yet, Duran stepped forward, because silence had already begun its work. And if no one spoke now, that silence would soon become something far louder, something far more dangerous, something no one would be able to ignore.